Another eventful day in the crypto when BTC, Ether, and big coins are actually dropping, and it seems like XRP is holding on to it. Now, there are a lot of different reasons for this. Now, here they just highlight you Bitcoin holdings, but that's not the case. If you read it, crypto like Bitcoin and stablecoins up to 1%. That's actually a good news. Now, when the price is dropping, you can ask like, okay, what's going on? It's like Grayscale going to sue SEC, then CFTC going to sue a company, and it's like, okay, all of this happening in crypto. It's like a suing game right now. But you actually see another ETF being launched in Europe, and US still suggests that no, it's not safe for the investors. Now, this is from Michael Burry, and it shows like, okay, we still have downside. And that's after this drop in the market. Shopify has dropped like 83%, and that's a stock doing such a drop. From November 21 highs, we have dropped like 83%. And if you look through S&P 500, Dow Jones, and others, you're like, okay, all of them are trending lower, but did not actually get hit hard like this. But if you actually look at the general market, you're now like, okay, you right now looking at a lot of different things in your life, but this one is also important. There's a bank which is collapsing. Now keep this in mind, that's a traditional bank getting hit hard, and that's a new one. So we don't know how much domino effects are going to come after this, but one thing is for sure, it's not going to be just in the Bitcoin market. It's not just going to be in the crypto market. There are issues here too, but they are highlighting, okay, we are not getting sold for just 25 million. So I think there are negotiations going on there. So if you are in this market right now and you feel, okay, that's a lot of stuff happening, and why is the market still going lower? You do have stuffs happening. That's why we say utility is going to serve that purpose. In last video, we talked about this. XRP to BTC, XRP to Ether is showing that it can go higher. And right now, as we talk, it's slowly grinding back higher, which is a good sign, showing people are moving to this area. Now, this negative stuff still remains, but if you are looking at it on a different time zone, you're now getting a little bit of divergence on a 3-day chart for XRP. Then you step in and zoom in on a daily chart, and you kind of see like, okay, the candle closes and the current wick tend to be somewhere close enough, and the divergence which we are talking here is slowly increasing to the upside. So the divergence is increasing its momentum. Market is slowing down, Bitcoin is dropping down, and this doesn't actually really look good. Now, if you hit the support here, that's like $17,000 Bitcoin, which we have already went and tested. But if you take a step back, that's like, okay, there is something more to this. If this happens to be a push to a next leg downside, what's the next support? Where are we going? Because Ether right now is going back to test its previous low, which is close to that $700 mark. If this breaks, we are going further lower in Ether and Bitcoin. But the market shows you something different. The altcoin market does show you this. And that for me is interesting. And now we're going to detail through that. So stick till the end and you're going to get the full picture. Welcome to the Scientific Investor family, where we discuss crypto and science behind investing regularly. Now, if you actually look at the altcoin market, we are trending higher. We are sticking on to that trend line support. We are respecting that level and the 200-day moving average. That is not a bad stuff when the RSI is at the super bottom. Now, yes, I do agree. The RSI is at the super bottom on a weekly. You don't get to see any divergence yet. But as you zoom in on a 3-day, you are slowly starting to get some divergence. Now that is actually a positive news if you are looking to see like whether we are bottoming out or not. Then you zoom in, you go into a daily chart and you're like, okay, the price is slowing down. We may actually come back to retest this low, but the momentum is increasing. Now, one of the important factor which I want all the XRP holders to keep in mind is the divergence which you see here in the altcoin market is exactly the same as XRP. You look at the price action, you look at the indicators. Now we come on, look at the altcoin market. That does mean something. What is it? XRP is kind of holding the altcoin market together right now. A lot of people may say this is a banker's coin, this is, this, that and all, but this coin right now is holding the altcoin markets together. Now, if this is to drop, okay, we are going to go further low. Now, if you look at the current bottom and say, okay, price is going to come back here, test this range, but the RSI is still trending higher, that gives you more confidence saying that, okay, we are finding a divergence which is staying strong. We are slowly moving, grinding to the upside. Now, to get more clarity, you move on to a 3-day chart. And here you're getting the same stuff. The RSI is slowly trending to the upside when the price is trending to the downside. At the same time, on a 3-day chart, you get to see that the MACD has been trying to go back to the upside. Once it tried here, failed. Twice, failed. Now, this is the third attempt. Mostly, what we have seen in the market is, now, you can just zoom in and see this. Don't take my word for that. This is the first try here, trying to cross back up. It failed. Second one, you tried to cross back up. It failed. Fine. Then what happened? Third time, you are crossing to the upside. Now, did the price skyrocket? No, it didn't. But if you look at the altcoin market cap here, we had a long wick to the upside as you were going to peak there. Before you even cross back down, you have a long way to the upside. Now, I'm not sure we are going to go back to that high just this month or the next month. But one thing is for sure that you are making lowest point in the history of MACD for the altcoins, showing we are somewhere close to the bottom. Now, if you are a serious XRP guy looking at XRP, trying to get the absolute bottom is going to be hard. XRP, the top was $2, right now at $0.32. Fine, even if you buy at 0.4 or 0.5, are you close to the bottom or are you close to the top? Imagine XRP is going to drop to 0.28, 0.25. If you're buying now, is it close to the top or close to the bottom? So that's one of the best idea to have before you try and average down. If you bought at $2, if you bought at $3.5 and you want to average down and buy more units, you need to keep this in mind. You're not trying to pick that bottom. You are trying to get positioned close to that bottom, because next move higher, it's going to come. We all know this, because with each drop comes the next rally. It's a next opportunity. And whenever the market has consolidated like this is a long consolidation. Fine, 500 days inside the cycle. Previously, when we have done this, it was at the bottom here as an accumulation stage. Then we went back up. Now, you zoom in to that particular area in the altcoin market to understand, okay, what was the price doing? You were getting a divergence. This is your bottom. Now you literally get a divergence here, and now that divergence, you won't be able to actually clearly see that unless we zoom in. So going in, this is what it looks like. You get a divergence, but that was a massive crash back in March 2020. Most of us averaged down back then. Then the price started to slowly get momentum and then increase that momentum going back higher. Now, at the same time, if you're going to look at the MACD, you're observing something similar. You go down, you slowly cross to the upside and start grinding back. Now that is something big for all of us, because we are now about 200-day moving average, because XRP is holding. Now as we speak, we can just refresh the page and see like what the Bitcoin is doing, what altcoins are doing, and then you're like, okay, Bitcoin is coming close to 19,000, or it's just a small bounce, but it is still 10% down for the last 7 days, where XRP is down 3%. Now Cardano is down 7, Solana is down 15, Hex is down 20. So when you compare all this, you're like, okay, I get something. It's not happening for last 24 hours. It's happening from last 1 week. We are down, but unlike others, they're still holding. Because others, which are like Tron and then the stable coins. So you're now like, okay, there is a lot of attention coming based on the project, based on the utilities. And if you understand that well enough, you are accumulating. Now, if you are aiming 10,000 XRP, 100,000 XRP, a million XRP, we did talk about that in the last video, right? If you want to increase, what should you be looking at? What is the procedure for you to do that? Now, to do that, you may need some skills. And even if you have those skills, you may need to follow some rules. That's why these 3 videos will give you that idea. When the price of XRP is super low at this point, getting that education, if you really want to increase your XRP stack, if you're really serious about increasing the number of units of XRP you have, then this is what you're looking at. Otherwise, what you are looking at is just holding, because you're bought already whatever you want, 500,000, a million, whatever, you're already in. Fine. Now you're waiting for those targets to be met. Now with this market having all this volatility and the macro situation getting extended like this, we may have a bit more. Now for XRP, that can just be a sideways momentum, but when Bitcoin, Ether and others are trending down, even if we are holding on to that level, it shows massive strength. And that's where we say utility is the key. And when the market goes back up, the market sentiment changes, you're going to see these utility based assets skyrocketing. So if you are prepared, if you are positioned well enough, you're going to take advantage of that. If the inflation numbers are not that high, Fed may not go aggressive. If it's really high, yeah, they'll have to go aggressive for 1 or 2 more time, and that's it. The market is going to go back up, but before that, they're going to crash the economy, so that the inflation number goes down. Whether you're homeless, whether you don't have a job or food, they don't want you to spend more money into the market, so the inflation goes back down. Now, they're also saying like the supply is more in a lot of retail stores. Fine. So that means the price is already going to go down. And with your purchasing power being kicked down, that inflation number should go lower. But the issue with the inflation number is it's always lagging indicator, right? Last month's inflation, say June's inflation, is going to come out in July, maybe 13th of this month. That does mean you are 2 weeks late for the last month. And then in 10 days, Fed is going to come out with their meet. If in that announcement you are getting lower inflation, that's actually good for the market. I don't think Fed may go too aggressive at that point, because the inflation is taming, and that is going to signal that the market is going to go back up. And when you are at a long-term support, about 200-day moving average on a weekly, you are like, okay, that is the bullish I can get for this particular asset class. And if you are that institutional buyer who's looking at these, your 200-day moving average is much lower, and the price action you are looking at is to test and hold the previous resistance. Now, this is one of the key indicator which a lot of people have to understand. Now, we all do agree that we are trying to learn TA, we are improving on a regular basis, all that. But have you ever noticed that inside a trend, you mostly does stuff like these? Fine. Now, if you are looking at this properly, with that cognitive ability saying, okay, I'm learning, fine. This is the previous resistance turning into a support. The same goes here. This is the previous resistance turning as a support. So this in a line seems like, okay, that's easy, I can grasp. And I'm like, okay, that should be the same here too. This is the resistance turning into a support. You broke above that, you made that as a support, you bounced. Fine. You hit a big resistance here, you came back down, and when you came back down, you made a double bottom. W is for win, right? And if you think that macro W in a monthly like this is just this one run up, maybe it's me, but I think a huge run is coming ahead. And when that comes, a lot of people are going to be taken out by surprise because they're going to go too heavy too early. We talked about that, right? That's why we try to educate you in a way that you know your skill sets, you're mastering that skill sets and rules, so you're well positioned to take profits. Because right now, what you're observing in the market is this. You had an accumulation range, you broke higher from that accumulation range, then your wave one is done. Now, as you correct back down, you are just testing this previous high. You consider this like wave 1, this is then wave 2, now you have wave 3. Fine. But if you consider this as the accumulation range for crypto assets, especially the altcoin market, then this is wave 1 and what you are looking for is wave 2. We'll have to see how it turns out. But one thing is for sure, if you are trending higher like this, it's so easy to actually say follow the trend until that trend breaks. So if it's me, if it's you, if it's anyone in this market looking at this, I'm like, okay, this is the trend line, we are following this, so at least unless you break below this, don't go bearish. Because I'm listening to a lot of stuff which people are sending me short clips from a different YouTubers saying, okay, this guy has turned bearish, this guy is bearish. I'm like, okay, it's their opinion. Now it's your money, it's your portfolio, so the final decision should be yours. Don't just jump in because I'm saying this. Don't just jump out because another guy is saying that. You need to go in and make sure that what you learn from the history is applicable here. And if you think that's just speculation, if you think that's just an opinion from another guy, don't take it. Because IQ, EQ is not all for investments. You also need critical thinking ability, which comes under IQ, but a lot of training for that. Now, you will understand and time will tell what the market is going to do. But the way we see the market right now is, yes, there is a signal that you are getting a rounded top, which is not bullish, which is never bullish, but you had history showing you, but what happens? You go break higher. So to understand that dynamics, you are trying to zoom in. You're like, okay, fine, this is my previous low, which I made inside the first week down. Great. You're now observing that one. You can say this like A, B and C to the upside just for a imagination. And then you come down here, you get the same A, B and C. After your C, you have a wick here. You got that one here. Then you come lower below those two wicks. So you have one wick here, another wick here. Now you are coming back lower than these two, but standing still above this one. So for me, I'm like, okay, history kind of is repeating, but it's not absolutely the same. It's a little bit different because of the scale. Number of crypto assets have gone too big. It was 2,000 back then. Now we have 20,000. And that's like, a lot of them. Fine. Now we go to Binance. You don't have 2,000 assets listed. Fine. So you have a lot of small exchanges with small assets with less liquidity. So you are focusing on big assets which have a lot of liquidity and buyers' attention. So you're going to look at these and you're like, fine, I do see XRP right now is 110 million in buy and 93 million in sale. That looks positive for me. If that's the same for you, now you're like, okay, the market is going to bounce. And as the market bounces, now I'm not saying it's only going to be XRP going up. There are a lot of different assets showing you even bigger divergence than XRP. Now, I've been posting that in the Patreon last couple of days. We've been going through a lot of different assets. At least 20 assets has been posted and another 20-25 will be posted today and the next day. So we are trying to cover at least 80 to 100 assets in this week. So when you're bottoming out, now you have the idea of which one is making that divergence, and some of them are not showing any signal of divergence, so they may still continue to the downside. That's a red flag for anyone who is learning technicals and looking at the chart like, okay, that's an opportunity. This one is not an opportunity, right? If you want that kind of update for a lot of different assets for your portfolio, you can look at the Patreon. The link is given in the description below. Guys, if you are receiving value, please do hit that like button if you haven't done that already. And if you are new here, please consider subscribing. I'll meet you guys on the next video. Bye for now.